And tonight with our Thunder Road Vendetta, I'm going to give you the BGG stats. We're going to give you the beans, right? The beans are BEANS, the basics, the enjoyment, the aesthetics, the negatives, and the summary. Part of the basics for Thunder Road Vendetta, it is a game from 2023. It plays 2 to 4 players without the expansions. We're going to focus our conversation to start with on the retail version of the game. We're going retail here. As of the writing of this, it is ranked 431 on the BGG with an 8.0 rating, and it's number 20 currently on the hotness list.
Oh, all right.
So it's on the hotness list right now, and I think that has a lot to do with the dropping of the new expansion.
Must be. I was say,
The Carnival Carnage?
Something Carnival.
Carnival Carnage or Carnage of Carnivals.
Yeah,
or
something like that.
It's dropped Chaos Carnival or Chaos Carnage. It dropped recently, so I think people are like me getting back into this game, waiting for their expansion to come. This is a re-release, a redoing of the 1986 classic game of Thunder Road, and so for y'all looking at the time scale here, 1986. I consider that pre-Malone.
Oh, yeah? Some of y'all weren't alive probably in 1986.
Right, because Post Malone was born in 1995.
Pre-Malone?
So this is pre-Malone.
Wow.
This game came out. And the description is to grab your cars, roll your dice, race your cars, shoot your guns, and try not to get wrecked in this game with random hazard tokens, damage tokens and effects, dice, lots of dice, attack copters. It's a fun game. I'm super excited to talk about this one and get more plays of it. Most importantly, this game, Rob, believe it or not, award winner, 2024 American Tabletop Strategy Game of the Year.
Strategy Game of the Year?
Strategy Game of the Year.
Me? Right.
That's this year's 2024.
We'll get into that.
Yeah, that's something we need to talk about after that. That's
for sure.
Yeah.
So give us a little intro, Dan, on how the game plays. Give us the basics on how we play this game.
All right. So give me a shot of the board up there. It's basically Mad Max, the board game. The game is total chaos, but that's the appeal of it. It's not a bug. It's a feature. Like Carlos said, you start with a team of cars. You get 3 cars: a small, a medium, a large, and a helicopter on your team. At the beginning of the round, everyone's going to roll their dice, and then the numbers that you roll on your 4 dice, like you did, they stay the same for the whole round, and you're going to be using those dice to move your vehicles and do other things throughout the game. On your turn, you're going to take one of those dice and you're going to assign it to one of your player boards as the movement for that vehicle. If you put it on small, you're moving the small vehicle, however many spaces that number is. So you place your dice. And if you could see where Carlos's hands are, there's 4 dice. And you only have 3 cards. Well, that's because one time during the round, you're allowed to take that extra die and put it on your dashboard to do additional powers like airstrikes, nitro, drift, and repair your damaged vehicles. So you're going to put your die on your car, and you're going to put your additional die out if you want to at that time. Then you're going to move the vehicle, however many spaces it says, and you're going to have to move it the entire amount that you mark down, unless you run into something, and then I'll stop your movement, but we'll get into that later. After you move the vehicle, you're allowed to shoot, except in the first round because they want people to get on the board. But you're going to shoot in front of you at another vehicle. There you go. And when you shoot, you're going to roll that die, the shooting die. You have to roll what the size of the vehicle is you're shooting at. If you're shooting at a medium vehicle, you have to roll the die and get the medium result or the any result on that die. And the die is made so that larger vehicles are going to hit more often. On the dice, one side says medium small, one side says medium. 3 of the sides say large, and one side is any. So if you're shooting at a big vehicle, you got a 4 out of 6 chance of hitting. If you're shooting at a small vehicle, 2 out of 6. If you shoot and you hit the car that you're shooting at, the owner of that car is going to draw a damage tile, flip it over, and resolve it. And those can have all kinds of crazy results on them too. It just be like a simple dent, shrapnel shoot off your car and maybe hit something else. Your car skids out of control. You blast off in the air and land somewhere else. Just ridiculous chaos. Now, let's jump back. I was talking about movement. You run into something, you slam into another car. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to put your car on top of the car that you ran into. And when they made the game, the small, medium, and large cars will stack on top of each other and stay there. It was well made. After you put your car on top of the one you hit, you're going to roll the dice. You're going to roll a movement die, or direction die. Sorry, it's going to be a direction die and the slam die, which is the red one with the cars on it. Yep. On that red one, once you roll it, it's going to tell you if the top car or the bottom car is going to move. And the top car is on there 4 times, other way around. Bottom car is on there 4 times, top car is on there twice. So there's more likely that the person you hit is going to be the one moving. And then the direction die will tell you what direction that vehicle that is going to move gets bumped into. And then the only way to mitigate a bad result is if the larger vehicle in the crash, either the one on top or the bottom, whatever the larger vehicle is, the owner of that vehicle can have you re-roll both dice again. And whatever the result is, you have to stick with it at that point. This is going to go back and forth over several rounds. As the cars are racing down the track, you can see there that it starts off with 3 sections of road. If a car goes off the end section and the finish line is not out yet, you're just going to add another section to the road and then take the section in the rear away. Anything left in the rear, gone, out of the game. So this is going to keep going. Players are going to keep moving down. And the only way the game ends, and then we'll take this example, which is 3 or more players. Once one player is eliminated completely, and that means all their cars have been destroyed or they're all inoperable. Once one player has been eliminated, then the last tile on the board gets the finish line attached to it, and that is your finish line. First person to cross that line is going to be the winner. And the only other thing would be if everybody but one player was eliminated from the game, then that person would win without having to cross the line. And the only change to that is with 2 players, you're going to play basically the same, except if somebody's eliminated, then the game's over and that other person wins anyway. But the finish line comes out in a 2-player game, either, now I'm trying to remember.
I think it's 5 tiles.
Yes, that's it.
It's just straight up 5 tiles. That's all you get.
Yep. If the 5th tile comes out and someone hasn't been eliminated, that'll become the finish line. Thank you for that. And is there anything else we need to cover about the basic game?
No, I think that covers the basics. That gives us an idea of how it plays. I loved. Well, I guess that gets us to the next segment. So that was B for basics, E for enjoyment, right? That's where we're going to talk about the things that we enjoy about this game. We'll go round robin. We'll do our best to try to hit 1 point at a time so that everybody has an opportunity to bring a point in. Robert, talking to you.
Okay.
He likes to mash a bunch of points in about what he loves.
Robert likes to be quick. He's like, I'll be quick.
Yeah. 2 hours later. What I love about this, and Dan described this, is in the die for the slam die, the one that has the movement, right, where it talks about which car gets bumped, either top or bottom. It's weighted to the bottom car, right? The bottom car is going to get knocked around more often than not. And if one car is bigger than the other car, the bigger car in that slam action has the opportunity to do a reroll. So folks talk about this game as if it's just pure chaos. Oh, it's just straight up chaos. It's just a luck fest. And I, as a Blood Bowl player, as a avid Blood Bowl player, I disagree. Much like Blood Bowl, this game does have dice and it does have randomness, but it is statistically. Yes, okay. That word.
That one.
It's a game with statistics. Like you can determine, what is the odds? What are the odds of this action resulting in my favor before you take the action? and you can play those odds well, and good players will generally come out okay by taking the best shots at the right time against the right vehicles when they're surrounded by the right type of terrain. Like there's chaos with control. I love that.
Okay.
Dan, what do you love?
Well, I just enjoy the whole aspect of just watching whatever's going to happen. Just watching. I know you said that there's a little bit of strategy in there, but watching a vehicle get hit, bounce into another vehicle that flips backwards and hits the original vehicle, and then runs into a wall and blows up. I mean, that's the good kind of chaos right there. That's what we like to see. And because of that, I have played the game several times, and then I've taught the game to a full group and just kind of helped them play the game. And I had just as much fun whether I was playing it or if I was just sitting there teaching and watching and watching the ridiculousness unfold.
And that's how I was introduced to it. Dan taught, I believe, in 2 games minimum that I played in the first time I ever played this game. He didn't even play. He was just there helping out, keeping kind of a taskmaster, dungeon master style, making sure the turns were going and answering questions and having a blast with us.
Oh, yeah, I really like that. I mean, sometimes I enjoy doing that with games more than I do playing them.
Yeah, for sure. Sometimes. Yep.
What do you enjoy about Thunder Road Vendetta, Rob?
I'm glad you said enjoy, not love, because I don't love the game.
Notice I changed my words. Like Dan,
yes.
I can say love
you
to.
You can say love.
I can say love to Dan, but to Rob, I had to say enjoy.
Yeah, it's a game. It's a good game. I mean, if it's a game that I'd pull out and play on occasion. I'll jump into a game if other people are playing it, want to play it. But the components, I guess, and that's going to get into aesthetics here in a moment. But the components, I'd say, is definitely one of the biggest things. Being a restoration game that they took an old game, kind of did it, upgraded a bunch of the little things. I mean, come on, these little helicopters and the little cars and all the little pieces and bits and
like micro machines
and the dice.
They had helicopters in the original one too that were on the board.
Yeah. Just
they didn't look as good as that, but yeah.
Right. Yeah, all the little cool looking bits. I mean, this looks like something you would take out of a kid's the toy aisle. Just walking up and down the toy aisle, you could pick and choose all the different cool looking things, and then throw them on a map together. And the randomness. I'm not a huge fan of random. I'm not a huge fan of chaos. But if I'm in the mood for that, if I want to get this kind of game to the table, this is definitely one of the best ones out there for what it does. Yep.
Wayne, any enjoyments?
Yeah, I think opposite of you, Carlos. You talked about there could be strategy here because you do the statistics and figure out the die roll and no.
Yeah. Don't do that.
No.
Don't do that.
No.
Not if you're playing this game.
No. I save that kind of stuff for my Euro gaming. This one it's chaos. It's if I went into this game with that mentality of figuring out the die rolls and the statistics and what's in the best interest, like what's the best chance of me, I would hate this game, right? Because it's not that there's not enough there to warrant that level of thinking. I'm going to go have fun, play Mad Max the board game, just go crazy, flip cars, push cars. Oh, my own car went into a chasm. That's fine. I got a couple more, just craziness. And that sort of not thinking about the game, not over analyzing the game, just enjoy the moment you're in. It's just, it does make it a little group dependent, in that you have to have people like that. Cause if I'm sitting there and I'm the one person that wants the chaos and everyone else is like Carlos with the little Blood Bowl slide rule, what's the percentage chance of that? Not gonna be a fun experience. Right. And I've had that experience with this game. And then I've had another experience where I just sat down and was like, I'm going to go crazy. And it was the best experience. So my enjoyment is I don't have to overthink things. I can immerse myself in the idea that I'm playing Mad Max board game, this crazy, chase scene, everyone just, cars blowing up everywhere you can think. That's the enjoyment of this game.
I think I mean, I can't speak for you, Carlos, but I think you and me are the same way. Even in games like this, where you're just having a good time and fun, you just cannot stop calculating odds and dice and all that. It doesn't change the enjoyment of the game for us, but that part is always on. I can't turn that off in any game I play.
Right, I can't let it go to that end to be a witness, right? Witness me, to just be a witness of the game, right? Just watching it go by. No, I can tell, okay, this is going to be the best move based on what I have right now in front of me. Like this is the best odds of success is using this large vehicle to attack that medium or smaller vehicle, right? Or shooting that large vehicle is my best odds of succeeding.
Yeah, and I think that, to me, that actually helps me enjoy it even more, because I'm saying, okay, I got a pretty good chance of this going my way and it's going to knock that person out of the game. And I roll and it doesn't happen, even though those were the odds. I find that just as fun. I'm just like, oh, well, I was completely wrong. Oh, well.
That's the emotional roller coaster. You can't get on the emotional roller coaster unless you buy in to hope. You got to have hope to have disappointment.
I play a game like this sometimes, and I bring in that role play aspect of my experience, where it's like, what's best for the scene, right? I'm playing this board game, and I could not min-max, but I could figure out the statistics. But I go, what would be the most fun here, right?
Oh yeah,
and that allows me to override the statistics in my brain and go, this is, this kind of game immerses me in the quasi IP, right? We're calling it Mad Max game, right? So once I'm immersed in an IP in a game, I think that's where it's good, is if you have games that have IP and I get immersed in it, then that role playing aspect of me flips on. And sometimes it's like, well, maybe this isn't the best statistical action, but it's probably gonna be the most fun. So let's go with that, right? And so that's where,
Wayne brings up another enjoyment that I have, which is the IP, right? This is IP-less, right? There's no IP attached to this.
Well, we know.
I'm
sorry,
not officially, but
this is Mad Max, okay?
For sure,
and in preparation for tonight's show, right? And I'm watching Furiosa, right, for the first time last night, and I'm just like, oh, I cannot wait to get Thunder Road Vendetta to the table. Wifey's never watched any of this post-apocalyptic style movies, never seen a Mad Max, but she sat there with me while I watched it all, so she kind of caught some of it in between reading her Kindle, and I'm like, this is perfect, so she can kind of see what's in my mind when we play this, like on Thanksgiving, right? Like when we get this to the table as a family, she can see what I'm getting at. But that background information, being able to go watch the Mel Gibson versions, to be able to go and watch the new ones with what's his name from Venom, Tom Hardy, is it?
Yeah,
Tom Hardy. Yeah.
It's okay. Yeah.
So the newer version, all that just gets the juices flowing, the gasoline burning, right, to get this game to the table. So the IP is another piece that I enjoy, even though it's not there.
Yeah. Not
officially.
Yeah, officially.
Any other enjoyments, fellas? Let's keep talking enjoyments.
That's it for me.
I'll second Rob's. I'll second Rob's for components, and we'll go into that in the next segment when we talk about aesthetics. Yeah. The components are definitely a plus, and we'll explain what they are here in a moment. I think that's it.
I think we covered everything that really is what the game is about. There's not a lot more to enjoy than the IP-less IP and just experiencing the fun of the game. I mean,
but the table presence of this game is great.
It's not as big as you think either. It doesn't take
That's my point, Dan.
Too much table.
You said what I was headed to, which is this is not a table hog.
No.
The game feels so much larger than what it takes up on the board, and that has everything to do with that conveyor belt style mechanism, where as you cross into the next tile, you remove the back tile, slide everything over, add a new tile to the front. So the game feels much larger, like you experience a much longer road than what's on the table. But when you look at this game, Rob, we could fit this on a 3x3 table, right, and get 4 players here. That's not like most of today's games, where if you don't have a 4x6 table, right, you can't get most of these games on a board because they've got the main board and then you got the side board and then every player's got a board. Like that's today's design style, is that overdoing it. This game does not do that. It fits on a normal person's table. That's a great plus.
Those games that I ran at Dice Tower, 5-player games, we were just on one table. We didn't, and we still had room to set food and stuff down around it. So
yeah, it's beautiful. Beautiful setup. All right, let's talk about aesthetics. Getting into that beautiful stuff. What does it come with? It comes with cardboard, large cardboard, like 8.5. Well, I would say like 11 by 10 size map boards that are thicker cardboard. Right, they're not like FFG thick, but they're dense, and that's what's nice about them. It's not a flimsy cardboard. It's a dense, substantive cardstock that's not going to bend easily. The artwork is muted, as it should be for the post-apocalyptic world. It is not bright neon colors like Radlands, which I love. Don't get me wrong, Radlands is beautiful, but they went with the full just like aesthetic of brightness. This tones it down, makes you kind of more immersed into that post-apocalyptic world. All the components are that same card stock to include like the damage tiles. Everything's easy to see. So when you see damage, for example, this blast off, you can easily see I'm going to roll the direction die, which is purple, and then I'm going to add the movement dice, which is going to say how many spaces I move, and that's how far I fly on a blast off. So it's real easy to see what's going on the board, what your options are. The cars are all Micro Machines style cars, so like that same size of Micro Machines. Easily identifiable for medium, small, and large. And then that stacking that Dan talked about, how they're all perfectly designed to stack on each other and not fall. Like that was just smart, right? Because the game requires you to do it mechanically. Why not make sure the cars can stack and not fall over, to include like the rubble, like when you run over some a derelict car that's sitting there. And that's the thing, it comes with the cars that are like the destroyed crashed cars are plastic cars as well, so you're getting that full like 3D experience on the board. Dice are standard pips, but they're all different colors, and to the point where even the coloration, the painting of the pips are different. So like they have like a beige on the green, black on the blue, and then black for the other colors. So they put thought into each of the production.
They're all engraved, including the custom dice. So the custom dice that have the custom symbols on them, they're not just screen printed or heat printed. They are actually all engraved, all nice. Those are going to hold up. They're not going to fade or peel or anything like that. So that's actually one of my top aesthetics of the game is the dice were really kind of nice, and there's two different sizes. The specialty dice are big chunky
FX dice.
Yeah, and then the normal movement dice are all smaller dice. So yep, there you go.
Helicopters with spinning rotors. I feel like a kid when I'm playing this game. I'm just
flip that propeller.
Like toys are okay for grown-ups. Okay, toys are okay for grown-ups. Anything I missed on the aesthetics? Let's talk with aesthetics. Also comes in the formatting of the rules. Dan, I've read through the rules. You've read through the rules. I know that Wayne and Rob, I don't recall having read through the rules.
No,
but looking at the rule books, you have Maximum Chrome. I have Retail. What are your thoughts on how they produce the rules?
I think they did a great job. I mean, it's really easy. I mean, it's not a huge rule set to begin with, but the way it's presented in there, it's nice and linear, and it makes it easy to learn the game. Each of the expansions in the Maximum Chrome one that I have, they have their own page, so you don't have to like hunt through, oh, this paragraph is about the expansion. So they set it up really well.
Yep. And then all the damage tokens are on the back of the book. So you just keep the book out, face up on the back, and it answers any questions you have as you reveal the damage tokens and make it real easy. I think aesthetically, so when I say aesthetics, we talk about like the components and the way the game is designed. I think they did a good job. Very good job.
Yeah, they did a really good job. And I got mine through the initial Kickstarter they did, so I don't know if my Chrome edition is different than anything else out there.
Yeah, Restoration Games has a history, has a reputation of doing that. I mean, they take older games, they kind of put a new, fresh coat of paint on them. They spiff up a lot of the little details. They did that with the Dark Tower, the cool spinny tower. They updated that from the old one. Stop Thief, the little electronic thing. They take all the old things and kind of make them just a little bit better, just a little bit cooler when they upgrade these games. And so yeah, they did a really good job with this one.
The one it's just nitpicky, right? But I like Restoration Games. They tend though is like their retail versions of games are good, right? They're nice. They're good for general usage, I guess. But they really sell you on their Kickstarter fancy versions because Downforce, right? There's like the Target version. Then there's like, the fancier version. There's the same thing with this game and other games. So they really try to upsell you. And like, so the aesthetics is fantastic. I've never played the retail version, but I know that, there's subtle differences like as far as the cars and the cards, but just that Kickstarter comes with so much other cool stuff to play with where it's like, can you really get by with just the retail?
I'm trying.
Yeah.
I'm trying. I won't lie to you because we'll get into the negatives here because that's one of the negatives is you buy the retail version and then you feel like you completely missed out. And then everything is sold out.
There's so much other
you
stuff.
can't get the expansions. You can't get the big rig. You can't get the 5 motorcycles. You can't get the special asymmetric player boards.
It's a game, or you got to know better, right? I mean, I think they're certainly taking the approach that they're trying to make this accessible to people who aren't gamers, hardcore
if you're
gamers.
a gamer, you got to go with the big
Right.
fancy version. If you're not a gamer, you can buy the Target version, basically.
Right. So I think they're trying to appeal to a lot of audiences. I don't think they're trying to cheap out.
I don't think they're trying to cheap out. It's just
Yeah.
we in the Discord we talked earlier about like Foundations of Rome versus what's the Metropolis Foundations whatever the new version. Like there's the $250 all-in Kickstarter for a game that doesn't have a heavy rule set similar to this, and then there's the retail version, which is acceptable. But is it acceptable to the hardcore gamer?
Right. Yeah.
But that price difference, that leap,
Yeah.
and we'll talk about Maximum Chrome here at the end after our summary of the retail. Dan will tell us a little more about the Maximum Chrome. But that, like, once you get into the retail, you're like, wow, I missed a lot. But that leap to that Maximum Chrome is a huge financial difference. Big financial difference to get it. But I think it's going to cost me that much to piece together all the expansions that Maximum Chrome had.
Yep.
So that is a negative for me is the fear of missing out is real on this one. It's too late. I already missed out.
Wow.
I'm
Remind
stuck
me,
with
because
retail.
while you were talking about it, I pulled up the prices and stuff. So when we talk about that, remind me, and we'll talk about that too.
Oh, yeah. I've been looking at them. They're on my wish list. This is.
Before I forget, as we're kind of talking about starting to creep into that, Carnival of Chaos is the expansion. So I just want to make sure we set that straight there.
Yep.
So,
No, we're trying to get the name right. Yeah. I ended up scooping that one up because I knew it would be gone. Like eventually it'll be gone. You can't find it. I need to scoop it up quick before it's gone.
yeah. So are we slipping to negatives now? Is
Oh yeah,
sounds
we're
like our
negatives.
negatives?
Oh no, we're going to slip it in. We're all the way in.
All right, I'll not just going just the tip. No, all right. So I'll just real quick here. Again, I'm not a huge fan. A player like me, a gamer like me, I have to be in the mood for this. So that's my big negative. Is that this is definitely not a game I would just pull out and play with any group. It's not a game that I would play, that I would recommend. Even in this type of game, there are other games that I would like better. So I really got to be in the non-Euro game mood. I got to be in the mood just to, all right, this for me is just going to kind of be a filler. It's just going to fill some time. You need a fourth player to kind of fill this out and make it more chaotic. Okay, I'm in. I'll play. I'll jump into the game. But it's as Wayne, I think Wayne hit it on the head earlier. As a Euro gamer, this doesn't offer enough choice. It doesn't offer enough control for me to feel like I'm really controlling what's going on. This also has player elimination. So we talked about it. The good thing is you're not going to sit around for a long time if you get eliminated, because once a couple people are eliminated, we bring up that finish line and everybody's racing to the finish. But it is a game that you could be eliminated for 30, 45 minutes possibly and have to sit and watch other people play or go get a taco or do something else while other people finish out their night.
That's a negative?
So, yeah, well, getting a taco is always good. But
I was waiting. I was waiting for the negative in that.
Ready
All
for the
right.
bad part of that? But so that's for me. It's got player elimination, which I never like. It's got a lot of again, Carlos is going to argue, but a lot of randomness compared to.
I didn't argue. I agree with you.
Okay,
There's randomness.
There's randomness, but
Statistically randomness.
okay, statistical randomness. But anyway, this is it's something I got to be in the mood for, or again, if everybody wants to play it, I'll play it. But it's not the first game I'm going to jump to. So that's my 2 bits.
Are you gentlemen any negatives over there?
Yeah, my negative is just the difference between retail and all in, and it's a game that I would like to play. I like to play it probably more often, but I don't know if I would really enjoy playing just retail over and over again. I need all the added bits of all the expansions and just craziness, because I think this game shines when you go full on crazy, right? When and in order to do that, you need some of those expansions. So the negative is, the base game is a good game, kind of like Downforce is an okay game at base. And then when you add in expansions, it gets a little bit better. So, I think this is the kind of game that I enjoy, but if it's just a base vanilla game, I'd be like, I'm not really interested in playing it. When it's full on crazy, we got the 18 reeler and the cars and special weapons and more expansions, and the more chaos you add to the game, the more I enjoy it. So I think that the base game will get you interested. You'll play it once and go, oh, that's fun. All the other stuff really, but then there's the cost. That's where the negative is like, in order to get all that stuff, it's just couple $100, and it's like, is this game really worth a couple $100? Like Foundations Rome, I really like Foundations Rome.
Listen, if it was a couple $100, I'd own it.
Yeah.
If it was just a couple $100, I would have it all.
Right.
It's more than that.
Even a couple $100, even if it was $200, too much, right? It's a good game. It's not worth $200 of investment or more to make it what you want. So there's my negative, just the price.
Before Dan goes, real quick, I'm coming off of just something you said, and before I forget, Wayne, you talk about all the stuff, player count in this. People who have played, I've only played it at like max counts. I played it twice. Does this game scale at all for 2 players or 3 players?
It scales for 2 based on the length of the road.
Okay.
It scales for your starting hazards on the first board. Some of the boards will tell you to fill number of hazards on the road based on player count. So as you can see, we filled in for 2 players, Rob, and there's a lot of red to try to block the road up. But as you have more players, you start to reduce the number of hazards to provide more open road, because other cars are going to fill in those gaps and be your obstacles instead of hazards.
Okay, I just want to know about that, because I think I've only played it at 4 once and 5 once or something. So have you played it at lower count? I mean, is it as fun at a lower count?
No.
Okay. All right. So that's that could be a negative. So,
Yeah,
but
a negative,
all right,
yeah.
I hope I didn't steal your thunder, Dan. But yeah,
Yeah, I've only played it at 4 player. So
Thunder? Is that on purpose? Thunder
Yeah,
Road?
it's
Thunder?
still
Stealing Thunder?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, unintentional pun.
No,
All right.
no. Yeah, I was just going on. Yeah, and I agree. It's a better game at a higher player count. 3 is okay. I mean, it's not bad, but definitely 4 and 5 is the sweet spot in this one. I was talking about you were talking about the price, so I jumped on, of course, eBay real quick to see what the maximum chrome was going for, and it looks like in the ones that actually sold, anywhere in the 225, 250 for one.
Okay.
Yeah, 199. I might be in. Over that 200 mark, it becomes harder to be like, okay, I'll get my money's worth.
Yeah, I pulled up my original Kickstarter, because I did this on the original Kickstarter where I got the maximum chrome, and I'm looking, and it was only like 470 people that picked that at the time of the Kickstarter. Now everybody
Really?
wants it.
Yep.
And we paid $160 for it in the Kickstarter.
Nice.
That's the right price. I think that's about the right price.
Yeah, $250. That's high. I didn't know they were going for that much.
even 160 is almost like.
A lot of
Well,
money.
see, 160 unknown. Like, no, I don't think I didn't invest in it. But now, after having played it, I'm like, totally 160. I'd throw my money at it.
What are you getting for 160 that warrants that price? It's all
The motorcycles.
Okay, but that's just but what I'm saying is you have, and that's where I go back to. You have a ton of boards, cardboard boards. Okay,
We'll go into Maximum Chrome. Well, let's park. You know what? Let me use a pun here. We're gonna park that one
Park that idea. Park that thought.
because after we hit summary for retail, let's go through Maximum. Let's go through Maximum Chrome as soon as we hit summary. Let me end off the negatives with this. My negative is the variation in the game length. Even at a normal player count, like if you played it 4 players every time, all the time, there's still a huge variance in playtime. Right? In one game, somebody might get eliminated pretty quick and the game is over fast. Another game, it might take a long time to really eliminate that one player. So it can go anywhere from 45 minutes to a couple of hours. And that to me is a struggle because I like consistent playtimes because I know what I can plan for that evening. Right? Whereas the playtime here, there's a variance of folks. So be prepared to go 2 hours. However, be prepared to play other games because it might end in 45 minutes to an hour.
And you can push the end of this game faster, though, too.
You got to kill somebody. Everybody's got to work together to kill somebody.
Yeah.
All right, so that got us negatives. And then finally, in summary, for the retail version, in summary, buy, try, or deny. And if you want to give a rating, you can. That's up to you for the BGG rating. For me, I'm giving the retail a buy. Dan, I know you're pulling up prices and such. What is the current price on the retail version? What are you seeing out there? To me, I don't remember being horrible.
$60 on Amazon.
I mean, that to me is like below the standard board game today. Like most board games, I'm like $70, $80 is a nice big board game, right? Small box games in the $40 range. I think this is priced just right at $60. It's a buy.
For me, it's definitely a try. It's you've gotta love the chaos. You've got to love the randomness. You got to love. You got to enjoy, or maybe not love, but enjoy that and have a place for that. You know that you're going to play that game enough. So I would say definitely try it before you buy it. For me,
Wayno.
Try. If you're talking retail, or even Maximum Chrome, it's definitely a try because the retail may not have enough for you, so you want to try it to see if it's good enough. And then the Maximum Chrome is pricey, and it may be not worth the price. So in generally, it's definitely a try.
Dan Rokotansky.
I mean, I have the game already. I don't know if I played the game at somebody's house and the retail was the only version available to me, I wouldn't buy it. I'd like to go over their house and play it every now and then, but I like having the additional material to add in, the expansions and the different tiles. I think you need all that in the long run if you're going to get this to the table more often.
All right. Well, Wayne, you wanted to talk about the expansion to this thing, Maximum Chrome. How are you feeling about the differences with the retail and the Maximum Chrome?
Well, and that's my question. Is so like retail 60-ish, right? Maybe
60,
50 to $60, and then the Maximum Chrome is 200. So you're talking about a $140 difference. What exactly are you getting? Like, is the value there? Like,
are you getting 3 times more? Is the question, I guess, right?
Yeah, yeah. Are you getting 3 times more material, 3 times more player boards, 3 times more cars, 3
more
times,
fun?
Are the cars no longer plastic and they're metal? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like the production of it, right? So like the cars are the same. They're all plastic, molded plastic. So it's not like you're getting different sculpts or metal cars or all the cardboard is dual layered or like, you know what I'm saying? Like for that additional cost, is it worth it as far as the material improvements to the game? Not necessarily just the all the rules and added gameplay, right? Added gameplay has a certain value to it, but is the actual components worth that much more?
I defer this one to Dan because Dan's answer on our summary was retail, not a buy. Maximum Chrome, Dan was buying it. So that difference, Dan, what are your thoughts?
I kind of agree with both sides of the argument. I could see how if you're not really into this, $160, which is what I paid at the time, or 200 now. I could see if you're not really into it, that's just way too much. That's the way I would feel about a game that I didn't really want to play that much. If somebody said, "Oh, I love this game, it's $200," and I didn't like it, I'm going to think, well, $200 is too much. But to them, maybe not.
Materially, though, so let's talk materially between the expansions and retail, like the difference. I don't think it lives up to 3 times the stuff, right? Because in the expansion, in the Maximum Chrome, you're going to get 2 sets of new teams, and that's going to take it, I think, to 5 players. It still recommends 5 max, right? It does not recommend playing at 6. No. I know people that do. I know people that do play it at 6, but it's not recommended. It's still recommended at 5. But you get 2 new teams, one of them being a war rig. So it's a big old honking truck. It's multiple segments. It's red, and it red means it goes faster. Oh, yeah. It's awesome. The truck is awesome. And then it comes with a second team of motorcycles. 5 individual motorcycles instead of your normal team of 3. Normally you have 3 vehicles as your team. With the motorcycles, it's 5, and they're yellow, and they're fast, and they just ping off of stuff like pinballs. It's amazing. Outside of that, I don't think you get any additional plastic. Like, you're not getting any additional extra dice. You're not getting, like, component-wise, it's just more track, more new hazards, some more indifferent new hazards.
Asymmetry.
That's the other ticket.
Yeah.
You add team powers. So you're going to have like a team leader, and they will have an individual power. So that's a new board. And then you get cards. So now there are cards that provide different upgrades to your team that we draft. If I remember correctly, we drafted them for the Maximum Chrome to give our vehicle, our team, or our vehicles different upgrades or powers.
Yep.
Which was awesome.
Yeah.
Like that. Yeah. That to me made it. It didn't so much, Wayne, take it as spend 3 times as much and you'll get 3 times as much stuff. I think it said spend 3 times as much and you will get 3 times as much game. Yeah. It becomes a gamer's game now and not just a family Target off-the-shelf game.
And that's sort of where I was going is, like, I know the expansions offer greater game experience, greater game play, and that's one thing. And is that worth that huge jump in price? Because the material components you're getting aren't that much more
valid.
And that's sort of where my it goes back to a negative of, like, it's a good game. It's not worth that huge price tag.
Yeah, I could agree. I can agree
for
with
me. Like, I'll play Dance Copy anytime.
You play what?
I'll play your copy anytime you want.
Oh, sure, absolutely.
Yeah. I live off of that. So as long as somebody in the group's got it, I don't need it. Yeah.
So. I also wanted to bring up something we didn't talk about that might cure some of the problem that Rob had with the game. Is I haven't played it yet, but one of these times, probably with Rob, to see if he likes it more.
Okay.
Is the German engineering module that takes the dice out, and you have a hand of cards that you're playing from to pick numbers and do different things without the randomness of the dice.
Now we're on the right track. I like the sound of that. Yeah.
Gives you the full bell curve, access to a bell curve of results as well, because it also replaces the shooting dice. So now you have more control. It's more of a flop for the shooting.
Okay.
And so there's that bell curve. So you can see, okay, I've already shot and hit a couple of smalls. I know that there's a lot less smalls in this 18-card deck than larges, mediums, and any's.
All right.
So I'm not going to shoot any small cards until I shuffle my deck again, because then I'll know that I'll have access to the smalls again.
A little more thinking.
Yes.
Yeah. All right.
German engineering.
I'm liking it. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I like the idea. Mm.
And that's what I'm missing. That's the big FOMO part. Like, I'm not buying Maximum Chrome. I can't get those expansions. They don't sell them individually like that.
Just steal out of Dan's box.
So that's what we need to do then. We need to set up a day where at least 3 or 4 of us are over at your house, and we'll film it. I'll bring my Maximum Chrome copy, and we'll do the German engineering.
Which I don't think I've seen anyone play that on YouTube. I haven't seen anyone play with the German engineering. So that's a great idea.
Yep.
Yep. We'll film it and put it up. Yep. That'd be fun. Yeah, and let's do it with 4 because 4 to 5 is the player count, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the best. Yeah.
We'll get 4. Yeah.
Beautiful game.
Nice.
That is Thunder Road Vendetta. We talked Thunder Road Vendetta retail, and we talked Maximum Chrome. Hopefully that gives you an idea of what the Beans and Dice crew think of Thunder Road Vendetta.